is Marcus Jones from Entertainment Weekly with Scene Stealers. Today we have the legend, Leiomy Maldonado, a judge on HBO Max's legendary
Ballroom is here!
Judges, what are you hoping to see?
Fashion. Y'all look like Grammys. The elements of Vogue.
More story, more family.
All the hot girl shit. That's right!
The quickest question, of course, is like, and maybe it's definitely a long one, is how'd your journey start with ballroom?
My journey started actually at a Boys and Girls Club called Kips Bay. I came across someone who ended up being my first trans mentor, and she was working as one of the staff members in the kitchen. She was actually the chef. She was voguing one day, and I was just like intrigued by it. I'm like, what is that? And she was like, well, it's called voguing. I'm like, what is voguing? She tried to explain it the best way possible through words, but it wasn't until like a day or two later that when I went back to the Boys and Girls Club, she gave me a VHS tape, and I went home and I put the VHS tape in the VCR, and yes, I'm telling my age. And then right after that, like watching the clips, like watching that VHS tape itself, I was completely pulled into the Vogue and into voguing, and I was so intrigued into learning what the ballroom scene was about. From there, I went into the city and I went into an LGBT after school program, and I started meeting more peers that were a part of the ballroom scene. And that's how I got basically hooked to the ballroom community. That was around when I was 16. So it's about 18 years now.
That's amazing. And it's taking you to so many different places. But of course now, the sort of final stop, a real milestone moment is being a judge on Legendary. Was that an instant yes? Because as soon as I heard they were making the show, I definitely had you on my list of like first people to go to. But it seems like you've had like a complicated relationship with film and TV in the past. And so I don't know if there was like hesitation at first.
For me, anything or any time that I'm approached to do any kind of work where I am showcasing my talent or anything that pertains to ballroom, I'm very iffy about. And I say that because a lot of times, you know, ballroom is appropriated even by people within the LGBT community. So for me, I was very apprehensive. It took a while for me to actually say yes because I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to be something that the ballroom scene can actually not only learn from, but they can get something out of it. You know, it's a competition for $100,000, but being seen on that stage itself and being seen on that platform, it opens doors to God knows what when it comes to talent, you know? So that was my main thing. I wanted to make sure that it was the right people behind it. I wanted the right people to be competing and the right people to tell their stories. And once those logistics got, you know, once I checked those boxes, I was able to say, yes, I do want to be a part of it. And being one of the people who has helped, you know, evolve voguing and the ballroom into the mainstream and to make it be seen and respected in such a positive way, it was an honor for me to be on that panel. Well, it's still an honor because I'm still on there, and I'm hoping that I will be on there for plenty of more seasons to come.
I'm talking about Leiomy, game changer of Vogue, the icon. Amazon, Vogue, that Amazon.
How has the reaction been? What do you love about the show and sort of the audience that's watching it?
What I love the most about the show is how educating it is and how emotional it can be, both in a positive and in a negative way. And when I say the negative way, not that the emotions being shown is negative, but it goes to show how much negativity the LGBT community has, you know, received, especially the ballroom community, and for people to see that this means something to us and that it's something that it's a lifestyle, it's a culture, it's something that really, really means something to each individual in different ways. It's so important for people to tune in that way and to learn about the ballroom history of each house, or, you know, why certain individuals came into the ballroom scene and what it means to different people.
Ballroom made me more comfortable with myself.
It is a support system. It's a family. It's art.
Vogue is the best way for me to express myself.
I want to show you can do this too.
You've talked about being protective of ballroom culture, and of course, the audience, like a lot of the audience, especially of the LGBTQ community, the Black and Latino LGBT community is protective of that. But I think the show has gotten a good response now that it's out. But like, what have you seen as the proven benefit of having people new to the ballroom scene as judges?
For me, a lot of times people, even till this day, they're questioning, why is this judge on there? Why is that judge on there? And why it's not all ballroom judges? But honestly, how can we educate people if we're not broadening the horizon, especially when it comes to the judges? I feel like each judge, although they came into it and they're pretty new, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're all knowledgeable. They're not, but they're learning. That's one thing. And it also gives the insights of people that, you know, it's open to other people. Ballroom can be open to people to come in and to actually learn and to learn how to respect and appreciate what ballroom is. Also, I feel like each judge brings in a specific type of audience, and honestly, a lot of those audiences, we as in ballroom community haven't been able to be touched outside of maybe YouTube or just people just loving the artistry. Now people are really getting into like, wow, this is a real community. These people really go through ups and downs. This is something that had to be created because the community didn't have a place of acceptance and a place of love and a place to just celebrate yourself. When it comes to like law is a part of the LGBT community, but he comes from a place where, you know, a lot of stylists, he comes from places where a lot of people don't even have time to be looking into no damn YouTube. So that's one thing. He's bringing in people that probably have never even heard about ballroom. Same thing with Jamila. She's an international known, you know, role model. And for her to be on that set, it brings in so many different people that would have never even thought about looking left or right, or even paying attention to anybody of this community. And then you have Megan, where Megan comes from the hip hop community. That's one of the most transphobic, homophobic, everything phobic,
Yeah.
you know? And for her to be on there, although, yes, you're going to come through, there's going to be people that are ignorant. They're going to be like, oh, we don't want to watch those slur shows. But they're gonna tune into it because Megan is on there. And as they tune into it, you never know who's going to be touched by these stories. You never know who's going to even be touched and inspired by the artistry that's being shown. And I feel like that's a lot of times where we forget. Like, a lot of people's like, Leiomy, you're always talking about appropriating ballroom and this and this and that, but here you are on a show where you are allowing all these people that are not from ballroom to judge. It's not appropriation. The show is built up around people from the ballroom community. We're just doing it in a different way. We're finding ways to open up and to create these bridges that have been closed for no reason. And why not do it through entertainment? And not only through entertainment, but through passion, through loyalty, through love, through, you know, through ballroom.
You ready for a battle?
It's time to turn up the heat.
We're here to win.
That was hot as hell.
Another thing too is like, has an added benefit of showcasing ballroom to the world been being a primary source of Afro-Latino representation and showcasing how that community specifically has been so vital to the history of queer culture?
I feel like, yes, I feel like within ballroom, we are finally able to see the importance of what it is, you know, being a person of color and being a part of the LGBT community, and how much we actually contribute to the world, but have not been giving the right credit. And that's something that with ballroom, like ballroom has been appropriated, we've been taken from, we've been, you know, stolen, we've been, there have been times where people come into our community and they find ways to, you know, yoke the community and pull them in and find different ways to like, but the fact that a show like Legendary and even a show like Pose, you know, like these shows, they're giving us space to tell our own stories. There's nothing more important than that, than actually hearing the story from people who actually been through it. And it's not just a story, it's an experience. We're sharing our experiences with you guys. We're sharing our life and our stories with the world.
Yeah. Having been in contestants' shoes as a contestant yourself on America's Best Dance Crew, you and Deshawn, is there anything from that experience, or like having been judged, that you brought to judging or didn't bring to judging Legendary?
Honestly, yes. And I look back at that every single time I finish a show. When I was on America's Best Dance Crew, I didn't really receive, well, I did receive some kind of positive love because there were 4 people on the judges panel. It wasn't just one person, but I think for the most part, as far as respect and as far as the job as a judge, I feel like it's not to take things personal. My job as a judge is to find a way to install my professionalism and to show you where you are amazing at and where you can work at to become amazing.
I want to see this every week, if not better. This is what we're here for, $100,000. And my score is a 20.
I'm here to plant seeds. And I feel like a lot of times within these competition shows, it lacks that. It lacks that real compassion, and it lacks that real connection where it's like, okay, I've been in those shoes too. So I feel like I've been in those shoes, so I'm able to be like, listen, I shouldn't be as harsh. Let me find a way to say this in a different way where it doesn't diminish someone or keep someone from being inspired to be better. And a lot of times, you know, like it happens. A lot of times people get in these panels and they forget to be constructive, to give constructive criticism with love.
Yeah. It's almost weird to like hear about your experience, because I remember watching the show, like it was so clear, and maybe it was so clear that you were a star. And I guess in hindsight, did it feel like you can also tell contestants that like, don't let the judging get in your head too much, because like if you're a star, the star shines through?
That's something that I do. I tell them, you know, a lot of times when we watch these shows, you know, they're edited. So of course you don't get to see everything that we tell them, but that's something that I imply. I make sure that I imply in them. I'm like, listen, like, yeah, somebody's going to tell you something. You might not like it. You might not like it, but you should know what you bring to the table. You should know. You should always believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. That's where it first starts. It starts within yourself.
Yeah. Does it feel weird to do the show in California this season, or am I just like sleeping on the LA ballroom scene?
Here's the thing, because it's a show and it's a competition for TV, honestly, I feel like where it was filmed, to me, it doesn't matter, because one, the contestants are not coming from like, it's not an actual ball. The competition is a ball. It's surrounded by ballroom, but when you go to a ball, you're not going to come to a ball and there's like 3 or 4 categories, or there's only 5 people in the house. Like you're literally going through a full competition where like you come up to maybe up to 30 different categories. As far as production wise, I felt like it was more important to do it in LA. The stage is bigger. I feel like the atmosphere is different. It puts people more on their toes. And I like that. I want people to feel like, oh shit, like, oh my God, this stage, oh my God, like these lights, these cameras. For us, with season 1, I wouldn't take anything away from season 1, because that was the starter of it. Like me being on the stage of season 1, the first time that I went on the stage, it was so surreal, and I teared up, and I was like, got so emotional, because it's like, wow, ballroom is finally being seen on this stage. And then when I heard about season 2 and we're moving to LA, and they were like, oh, Connecticut was nothing. And I'm like, really? I feel like Connecticut was everything for us. But then when I went to LA and I got to see that stage, I was like, wow. It made it even more surreal. I felt like being in LA made it like ballroom, we really made it. Like, this is it. Like, we really made it.
Yeah. Well, I have one sort of detailed question and then some like quick questions. The thing I want to know is, like, having seen other projects that cover ballroom, like I remember watching My House on Vice and seeing your relationship with Tati. And I know you have like, because you're such a figure of the ballroom scene, you have relationships to past and current contestants. how do you sort of set those boundaries beforehand of like, this is a competition, like, even though we may know each other, I gotta sort of like leave that behind and judge what's on the floor. And is that
That's
hard?
something, it's not hard for me. That's something that differentiates me from a lot of other panel, like ballroom panel judges. I never go to a ball judging based on my friends, who I came to the ball with, people I slept with, or none of that bullshit. Because in the ballroom scene, you get through all of that, honey. Like for me, I've always been a person that has been strictly sticking to my job. If I'm there to critique based on the job, that's it. When I'm on the show, I don't know none of those people. I don't. That's how I truly act. Like I don't know none of those people. I still address them. If I have to address them, I'm going to address them like they are strangers. I'm going to address them as if I would address anyone else. Because if I was to not be that way, I myself would feel cheated. I would feel like I'm cheating the competition. I would feel like I'm cheating even my own friends. I'm a type of person where I never wanted I don't want the easy flowers. Like, no, I want the flowers with the thorns. Okay. I want to work through the challenge. And in order to become better, you have to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Once you're comfortable, there's no other moment to grow. There's no room to grow. So as a judge, when I'm on the panel, everybody is individuals, but honestly. And it's easy for me because I take my job serious. I take my passion serious. And I have to work hard to be where I'm at. And I literally had to like blood, sweat, and tears to get to where I'm at. And I feel like in order for people to become the best version of themselves, they should have to go through things that are going to be, shake up the table.
Yeah. One thing I just as a viewer I've been wondering is like, do you think we'll see houses return in the future, maybe with like a new lineup?
I'm hoping that. Usually a lot of these competition shows, they come back with all-stars. So let's speak that up. I would love for our legendary all-stars season, honey. I would love for them to do that and to bring back, if they do bring back houses, I would like for them to even mix it. They can bring like maybe one or two of the favorites and then mix it and bring some new members. I feel like that will change the game. That'll be something cool.
To me, what makes a house superior is not only having that strong family bond, but being able to come together and create a show-stopping group.
Some of the houses that have been so known through different pop culture things that we've seen ballroom in, like say Paris is Burning, like the House of Extravaganza, the House of Mizrahi, like are those like legendary houses kind of like being held out for later seasons to sort of like spread the wealth? Or is it just like, do you have any awareness of like how that gets casted?
I don't have any awareness of any of the casting, and you would think that, but if you look at this past season, you had like so many top like heavy hitters compared to season one where you had like less of top heavy hitter houses. So honestly, I don't know. I don't know how the process goes. I don't know anything about casting, but it does make it interesting because there are a lot of houses out there that people may not know of because they're not as active now. Like, the House of Extravaganza, they're not as active now. And even with season one, the House of Ninja in the ballroom community, the House of Ninja isn't as active here in America as they are in, overseas. So you never know.
Yeah. Every season I watch it, I'm like, wait, which houses do I know already? And so I was like,
yeah.
Every season I'm also like, oh, well, when is this house going to show up? Like Miyake Mugler this season, I was like, oh my God, finally.
Yes.
Let me go to some guest questions. Let's see. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Panko Sam says, what's something you wish was different in Legendary? I feel like, did the point system change season 2, or is that just like VFX?
No, it didn't change. The difference between the first season and second season is that now we're showing the score as
Hmm.
opposed to the first season we didn't show the score. So that kept a lot of people wondering like how the hell did this house get in top and how so this time around they decided to showcase it so that way everyone, can keep up. I feel like with Legendary something that I would want maybe different. I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of tough because I feel like a lot of times people in the ballroom community or within the community, they want all these things. They're like, oh, we want more ballroom judges and we want more this and this and that. But a lot of those people don't actually attend balls and don't actually sit on these panels. Like, if you go to a ball, a lot of times they're going to vote on you based on favoritism, based on politics, or based on what house you're a part of. Like, who wants to deal with that with $100,000 on the line? Like, I want people who are just going to vote properly, at least, not for their girlfriends. But
Yeah.
something that I would like for different, I just hope that next season, if and when we do get picked up for next season and we do film, that we're able to have an audience.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I really love about the show is that you guys put a lot of effort into picking the right guest judges. Do you have like a dream guest judge?
Mariah Carey.
Oh my
I
God.
would die. Look at
Same.
that. Even talking about it, I'm like, Mariah, I would die.
And I
Mariah
feel
Carey for
like she
sure.
might surprise you. Like she's down for a lot of things. And so I would love to see that. Is
Yes.
there a guest judge that surprised you, or has there been like a favorite based off how they judged?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is there a guest judge that surprised you, or have you had a favorite based on how they judged?
Oh my God. There have been, even from season one, I feel like Tamar, I love Tamar in season one. This past season, it has been like Nico, definitely Taraji, love
Yes.
Taraji. Also Tiffany Haddish. Oh my God, this is it this week? No, it's 2 more weeks. Y'all gonna see Tiffany Haddish, honey, and she was everything on there.
Oh my gosh. Let's double check some more. Um, uh, well, yeah, I mean, in the question, someone's asking, are you MJ Rodriguez's house mother?
Yes, that's my daughter.
I love that. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yes, she's been my daughter before she was my house daughter, so that's my child.
Oh, I love this. So, Gigi Toiled asks, what is one of your favorite moments you've made in ballroom?
Oh wow, that's a tough one. It's been a lot. I don't know. I wouldn't say a favorite moment, but I would say, in a sense, surviving ballroom has been my favorite thing and one of my favorite moments. Being able to say that I survived ballroom, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna leave that just like that.
Well, I mean, also like when something becomes known as your signature move, is that like the moment where you realize that is that also like a big thing of
I
like
can say that. I can say that. Like the first time that I did my 360 dip at a ball, I feel like that was one of very great moment, honestly. I feel like everyone gagged, even down to the people that used to like make sure that they didn't clap for me or look my way when I was dancing. When I did that move, they was like, hold on, Kia.
nice. My producer had a very funny question. He asked, how does one carry?
Baby, carrying, I don't know how you carry. It's just period. It's just something that you either do or you don't. Carrying is like doing something to the utmost. It can be good or bad too. If somebody does something and they don't know how to control themselves and they like overdid it, you're like, girl, you carried. But if somebody like did something and they did it so amazing to the utmost, you're like, ooh, you carried. So it depends on the context.
Yeah. I like this one. Cindy Bayweather asks, do you have any input on the show's ball themes? Would you like to? What would you pick as a theme?
I don't have any input. I'm literally just a judge. I'm on there just to tell people where they need to make better and how amazing they did or not. But if I was to, and I would love to throw in a few themes over there. But I don't know. I would do some like intricate kind of stuff. I would like to see like the battle of like continents or something where like each house kind of represents like, you know, a different culture. Like, I don't know, it depends. Ballroom has been so like I've been a part of ballroom for so long. So when it comes to ballroom, we've had so many themes. So when it comes to the actual show, it kind of like if you're from ballroom for a long time, you're kind of like, oh wait, but we already did that. The world just haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So
What can you tease about this week's episode? It looks like there's kind of a Versailles theme, maybe a walk off or two.
yeah, it's some drama that happens. You know, I won't tell you what happens with the drama, but this week's theme is opulence. So it's very like big wigs, you know, kind of like the Bridgerton era kind of situations. So the girls are all done, you know, lots of classiness and, you know, poise and all that. And it's, you know, it's just some drama that happens, some good drama. I know y'all been waiting for some legendary drama, honey. So
Is there a category you're excited to debut this season or for people to see this season? I know I can't tell if there's been a face category yet, but I'm really waiting for a face category.
it's coming up.
Okay. That's
It's
going to
coming
be
up.
like a battle royale.
Yeah, it's coming up. Trust and believe. It's the face category is coming up. I don't really remember if we did any new categories this season, except for the American runway and the heels.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the newer categories. I feel like with this year's themes, the themes itself, they put people it puts the challenges in a whole different perspective itself. So you just never know. But trust and believe, the rest of the season, it's on fire. Like literally.
Yeah. Um, this is kind of interesting. If you were to compete in Legendary, who would be in your team?
Well, I got my own house, so I will have a
Right.
few of my kids. It will be we will win. That's it. That's the answer. The answer is that if I was on Legendary with my kids, we would win. That's it.
Yeah. Some other people have been asking is like, do you think House of Amazon would compete on the show? Like, or would you have to sort of like recant yourself if that were to happen?
I don't think I would have to recant myself. And that would be completely up to them. I wouldn't put that pressure on them. If my kids wanted to do it, they would do it, honestly. I feel like the first season they were like the HBO Legendary did want my house to audition because that's
Hmm.
another thing. Everybody keeps talking about, oh, your house, is your house gonna be on? They still would have to audition. All the houses audition. I feel like people don't understand that. They just think that only certain like, okay, we're gonna put this house in, send your members. They audition based on houses. So I could audition my house, but it depends who they pick. But my kids didn't want to do it the first season, so we never know. It's up to them. I'm not here to push them to do anything they don't want to do.
Yeah. Um, I think as a good final question, like, what's next for you? Uh, because some people are asking, like, what do you think is the future of ballroom? I think that's probably a harder question. But what's next for you? Does this experience have you thinking about like producing some projects yourself?
Yes, that's something that I want to look into. I want to look into producing my own projects and getting together like a show of myself. I want to get back on like the stage and like, you know, do what I do best, and that's dancing and getting out there and just showcasing all of my artistries and finding a way to just put it together into one show. So that's something that I want to work on next.
Yeah. And as far as this season of Legendary, is there a house you feel like is being slept on or a specific person that we should be looking out for?
I don't know. I feel like the right people have been getting their life, honestly. Like honestly, to me, like they are specific like houses as a whole. There's a few houses that to me have been powerhouses, but there's also have been a few individuals like Cha Cha Balenciaga. He's been somebody that keep your eye on. Amazing, like his energy, everything about him on the stage is amazing. There have been like a few Tishis that have been like on the set and like have been doing their thing. I feel like that's another thing. A lot of times people just think about the house overall. They need to start looking at the talents on their own. And, you know, stop sleeping on the underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, Star did carry their team on their back last season to a win. So,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. Last thing, can we expect another performance from you and Deshaun? We really loved the finale performance you guys did.
Unfortunately, I sat this season out, so I
Oh,
won't be
okay.
performing.
Yeah, but there's still plenty to get excited about for season 2 of Legendary, which you
Yes.
all can watch on HBO Max. Thanks everyone for asking questions, and thank you, Leiomy, for coming on Scene Stealers with EW. We
Thank
are
you for having
so happy to
me.
have you. Yeah.
It is my honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. Have a great day.